If you follow my channel, you probably know that I stream a few nights a week, and most of the streams since I started streaming on YouTube again have been grounded. Both before and after the Hot and Hazy update, I streamed the game exclusively, and even though I mixed in other games more recently, most of my streams have been grounded. Now that the End of the Wood update has come and gone, and I've done everything there is to do, I've been struggling to find meaningful things to do on stream. This past Wednesday, I started building a new museum in my newest survival world, and I plan on working on it at least once a week until the next update, which will likely be in late April at the earliest. Sure, I could spend time maxing out all the best weapons or farming a chest full of twinkling shells, but honestly, if I do that now, there will be even less to do when the next update drops. The devs have told us that the updates leading up to full release later this year will be lighter on content while still being about 3 months or more apart. For these reasons, I plan on playing Grounded less than I normally do, but I will continue to make videos leading up to the next update. I have a few in the pipeline right now, with the first 2 coming next week. Normally, I like to post at least 3 videos a week, and right now I'm running thin on Grounded video ideas. I think I can get at least 2 a week for the next few months, but there's no way I can get a third until the next update drops or news on it is revealed. With that said, I've been looking at other games or topics to cover to fill in the gap, and fortunately one fell into my lap earlier this week. It's a game that's been high on my wishlist for quite some time, and I even mentioned in my video earlier this year about the games I'm most looking forward to in 2022. I've put 26 hours into this game as of this recording because I like the game so much, and I thought I'd share it with you in case you were in the same position I am. So if you're taking a break from Grounded or just playing it less frequently than in the past, this game may be just what you're looking for, and the best part is you can try it for free right now. There's a free demo up until the end of the month, so you can try it and decide now if it's the type of game you're looking for before it releases on March 8th. Before we begin, I want to say this up front. I still love Grounded, and I will continue to cover it up to full release and beyond. If you see non-Grounded videos in the coming weeks, don't panic, as there will likely be another Grounded video a few days later. Let's get started. The game I'm super excited to share with you today is called Core Keeper. Like I said, this was in my list of top games I was looking forward to in 2022. I knew it was supposed to come out early this year, but we didn't have a release date up until about a week ago. So about a week ago, they dropped the free demo, which you can play right now. I'll leave a link for that down in the description below. They also released the release date, so it's coming out into early access on March 8th. Core Keeper is a survival game, and I'm going to jump right in just a second. You're going to see what it is. It's kind of a mix. To me, it's a mix of Minecraft, Terraria, Stardew Valley, all thrown into one. So let's just hop right in and I'll show you a little bit of gameplay so you can decide for yourself if it's something worth pursuing or if it's just not your thing. So basically what you do is you can start a new game, and we'll just start a new game just to show you what the things are. So basically we'll just put in a world, so we'll just put this in as a video, and we'll just put doesn't really matter what we're doing here. We'll create a new character. There's 2 modes. You can either play standard, where your character respawns, and you can play hardcore. So if you die, that's it. You're permanently deleted, and that's it. We're just gonna pick standard for right now. You're gonna have all these customizations for picking what your character looks like. But the main thing that's on this first screen is the background. So there's different backgrounds in this game. Rather than just being all the same, you have your choice between explorer, miner, fighter, chef, gardener, and nomad. So basically what happens is they each give different skills. So the explorer starts with +3 running skill, +1 small lantern, and 3 food rations. Miner gets mining skill, which makes sense, +1 on the copper pickaxe, and +3 food rations. The fighter gets +3 melee skill, +1 copper sword, +3 food rations. The chef gets +3 cooking skill, +1 cooking pot, +8 mushrooms. And the gardener gets 3 gardening skill, 1 copper hoe, 1 watering can. And the nomad is basically, you just start out even, so you're not getting any advantages and you have no disadvantages. So those are the different classes. I've already created a couple of characters, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop on over to one of mine right now. Now I will tell you up front, the game can be played solo or with up to 7 friends. So it's 1 to 8 player co-op. You can play co-op right now in the demo. It will also be co-op in the full release. So this is what the game looks like. It's a top-down, like I said, it kind of looks like Stardew Valley, but it's mixed with Terraria and Minecraft. So basically the premise of the game is you start in, and like I said, you can play with 1 to 8 players, and the goal of the game is to power up this core. So I've already beat the first boss in this world. I'm going to leave this as spoiler-free as possible, so we're not going to really talk about anything other than kind of how the gameplay works. But basically, you spawn in, you have to power up these cores by beating world bosses. So there's currently 3 world bosses. In the demo, you can actually power up 2 of the 3. You can beat the 3rd boss, but you can't power it up. So once the early access starts, March 8th, you'll be able to power up all 3 of these, and then you'll have all 3 of the cores powered up. I don't know what that does because I didn't do any of the alpha testing or anything like that. But that's the premise of the game. The map, so you can see, I played this for about 2.5 hours on stream, maybe 3 hours, just last night as I'm recording this. And this is about the amount of the map that I've explored. If we zoom out, you can see that I've explored pretty much none of the map. And like I said, the map's infinite. So you can actually go in any direction all over the place. But you're always going to spawn here in the middle here by the core. The map is procedurally generated. It will be different every single time. this map looks completely different than my previous map, and what you're going to do is you're going to basically start out with nothing. So I do have better armor here, but like we're just going to start off here by saying when you start off with nothing. You have no armor, no weapons, unless the character you picked or the background gives you something. Off the bat, you can craft a basic workbench, a torch, a wooden pickaxe, and a wood shovel just by getting wood. Wood will be found pretty much everywhere. And then, of course, after that, what you do is you craft better stuff by unlocking different ores. So right now there's, at least in the demo version, there's 4 ores you can get. I know there's at least one other ore that I don't think you can get in the demo version, but I haven't gotten far enough along in it to be able to unlock it. So there's at least 4 ores in the demo version. And I know there's a 5th ore that may or may not be in the demo, but it'll definitely be in the release. In fact, it's probably not in the release because there are some things when you go to craft it, it says will be available in early access. So they are holding some stuff back. I also did explore pretty far out on my other map, and there was actually a wall out here that I couldn't get past. So I'm not sure if that's unlocked by powering up the core, or if it's just basically a boundary that you can't get past till early access, which in all honesty is only in a couple weeks, so it's not that big of a deal. One cool thing is anything you do in the demo will be carried over to the early access release. So anything you do right now, you can carry over or you can start over. But the basic premise of the game is, and we'll just go over here and do some stuff, you can mine. So pretty much any block, I can't say any block because there are some blocks that at least I currently cannot break, but most blocks you can break. You can either break them with a torch or a pickaxe. So you can mine blocks. You can actually dig the ground up. So like I can dig the sand up and make a hole. You can terraform. And what you can do is you can actually take these floors that I've just dug up and use them as a land bridge to get across something else. You can use walls. You can use the walls you've dug up to make yourself a base. You can gather better resources to craft better bases. So it has base building, has combat. We'll see if I can find any minor Let's see if we'll wander around here a little bit. We'll just get into a little bit of combat. No spoilers. These will be like the first enemies you see. I won't show off anything beyond that. But the game so far, like I said, it's got me hooked. I pretty much every time I play it, I play it for at least a couple hours. And it's just super fun to play. And what we're doing here is we're just wandering around. So basically you can just tunnel your way all over the place. So I tunneled all this out by myself. Now, of course, it's going to be much faster and much more efficient if you have friends to play with. So if you have friends to play with, definitely get them to try out the demo with you to see if you guys like it. So here's basically the first enemy you're going to run into, and it's a slime. So I'm killing the slime pretty quick because I have a decent sword. The first sword, you're probably going to have to hit him like 3 or 4 times. But these are going to be the first enemies you're going to run into, more likely than not, because I believe they're pretty much surrounding the starting where you spawn. But beyond that, there's other enemies. So far, I've run into, let me think, there's at least a couple different biomes. So right now, like this is I think it's called the dirt biome. I don't know exactly what the biomes are called. There's a biome that has clay, which has different enemies in it. There's a stone biome, which has even tougher enemies in it. And there's a couple other biomes that I think there's a nature biome and one other one that I have not found yet. I'm not sure if they're available in the demo, but they're definitely going to be available in early access. So there's a bunch of different biomes. Each of the biomes, of course, is going to have different resources. So the first thing you're going to want to do is probably find yourself some copper. Copper is going to be the first ore you get. There's currently, like I said, there's 4 in the demo. There might be a 5th. I haven't found the 5th yet, but there's different ores you can find, which will, of course, be used to make you can make weapons, tools, and armor. Each of those is going to give you, of course, they're going to do more damage as you get higher. They do have durability for the most part, so they will break. You will have to replace them. They can't be repaired, but you can replace them. And honestly, after you play for a couple hours, you'll probably end up getting a decent amount of ore, so you're not going to have to worry about it. And because the world is infinite, I mean, you're never going to run out of ores or the stuff you're looking for because you can always go out and find more. So that's kind of the basic gist of it. There's also, besides the there's crafting. So let's just go over to the workbench here. We'll look at the first workbench because that's not going to really spoil too much. You're going to get the first workbench within the first probably couple minutes of playing because you're normally going to spawn with wood around you, or at least I have every time. You'll be able to craft that workbench. Each workbench is going to give you different things you're going to unlock. I'm not going to show you the other workbenches right now because, like I said, I don't want to spoil everything for you. But the first one's going to give you option to craft some copper tools. You're going to have these crafting options, so these are going to be the things you're going to need. So you got a furnace and a cooking pot. You can smelt ores in the game, just like you can in Minecraft. I think you can do that in Terraria too. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I played it. There's anvils to make different things, and then there's higher level workbenches, and then of course there's chests. And then you got these different building pieces. So basically things are tiered. So like copper's going to be your lowest tier weapons. There's a wooden pickaxe and a wooden shovel, but copper's going to be like your first tier of decent stuff. And there actually is wood armor, copper armor, all the way up to the highest ore. And then these are going to be your tier 1 things. But then once you unlock the tin workbench, which will be like the tier 2, that'll then let you make the next tier of anvil. And it'll let you make later on, you'll be able to make another thing for smelting ores, and so on and so forth. You'll get better bases. There are actually traps in the game. There's at least one trap that you can craft that I know of, and another that you can find. And then beyond that, there's cooking. So we can go over here to the cooking station real quick. So let's just go to the... I'm not going to point at these, but basically what you do is you put them in here. The cool thing about the smelting in this game, unlike other games, is you don't have to power it. So like in Minecraft, one of the things that could be frustrating is you can't find enough coal if you're down in mining resources, or I mean normally you will, but sometimes you run out of it. So in this case you don't need to power it. You basically just drop your ores in there, come back, and they're done. So we can collect these real quick. We have the cooking pot here. So what you can do for cooking is you basically just combine any foods that you can find that are lower level. So these are ones I've already cooked, but basically you can get mushrooms. There's different vegetables you can grow. So there's also farming, which I can show you real quick. So I have my little farm set up over here. So the game has it has crafting, cooking, farming. It's also going to have fishing. Right now there's no fishing in the demo version, but fishing will be in the early access. Fishing's going to be, you'll be able to see it because like this water that's sparkling over here, that's a fishing hole. So you'll be able to fish in the early access version in a couple weeks. Farming, you can plant these crops, water them. Basically you hoe the ground. It's just like I said, it's just like Minecraft Stardew Valley. You hoe the ground, plant your crops, water them, come back and they're done. Those can be turned into food using the cooking station here. And then of course we have anvil, so we can look at the first level anvil because this is going to let you craft the wood armor and the copper armor. The other anvils are going to let you craft better stuff. Then there's other crafting tables that, like I said, I'm not going to get into all those. There's of course a bed that's over here. And then, like I said, there's 3 bosses. So in this world, in the first 3, normally within your first 2 to 3 hours, you should be able to beat the first boss, or you're going to run into the first boss. After you beat the first boss, you power up the core. And then what you're going to do is you're going to be able to get these things here, which are scanners. These are going to show you where the other 2 world bosses are, plus you can get a new sword. And what you do once you run those, they'll show you where the other bosses are, so you can go fight them. The first boss was a little bit tough, even though the second time I fought him, but once I figured out once I got my gear right, it was pretty easy. It's not that hard to kill. The other 2 bosses I have not actually fought yet. I've not done any spoilers or looked into it. I have had people tell me that they are much tougher than the first boss, so I'm definitely going to prepare to do that before the demo's over, so I can power up at least the second core here and see what this is going to unlock for us. So that's basically the gist of it. Like I said, it's going to be an early access survival game. Right now the plan is for the game to be in early access for a year. Of course, we know how that normally goes for survival games. I don't think I've ever seen a survival game that said it was going to be a year and actually lasted a year. I think Dismantle maybe was like a year and a half or something. I can't remember exactly. But I know we know with Grounded was supposed to be a 1-year project and ended up turning into, it's going to be at least 2.25, 2.5 years before it's finished, which is honestly pretty quick. And other survival games like 7 Days to Die, Project Zomboid, they've been in early access since 2013. I played Scrap Mechanic, that's been in early access. Well, the survival version's been out for at least like 2 years now, coming up on 3. And most other survival games I played have been in early access for years. So I expect this game to be getting updates until at least for several years. And as you can see up here in the top corner, it says it's version 0.2. I'm not sure if the early access is going to be 0.3, but even if that's the case, let's say it's best case scenario, it's done in a year. That's great. You're going to get content updates for a year. But this kind of game to me, like one of the things I look for in survival games specifically is there replayability? Is there things that'll keep me playing for a long time? And like I said, the things for this are going to be, you have a procedurally generated map, so you can always drop in and it'll be different. The map is infinite, so you can pretty much go out and explore forever. I don't know exactly what the story is, so from what I've heard, the little bit of information I've gathered, when you power up the cores, the story's not over. There's going to be more to do, so you can legitimately or supposedly play as long as you want. And then, of course, there's different occupations you can pick, and you can play with friends. So you can build huge bases. You can build... actually, I'll hop over to my other world real quick and show you the base that I built. So this is the main survival world I played on, and as you'll see here, so this is the one where I've explored a lot more. I have about 20 hours on this map, and here's the other bosses that I've scanned for. So on your map, they're going to be in different places because, like I said, the map's procedurally generated. But anyway, on here, and one thing I did actually just discover, if you create a character, you can take a character on multiple worlds, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like Valheim. In Valheim, you can create a character and then load them into as many worlds as you want. So if you have like a super buff character and you don't want to start over when you're going to play with a friend, maybe your friend's just starting, or maybe your friend has been playing for a long time, you guys can just swap characters or you can take your characters back and forth between worlds, so you don't have to start fresh every single time, or you can start fresh every single time. So this is my base that I built on the one that I had the most time on. So I fully terraformed this, so this area had very little grass. So I basically dug up a lot of this grass in other places around, like close by, and then came over here and replaced the ground. So we got all this grass out here in the lawn. This fishing hole was here, so I basically made one over here because a lot of times when I'm building stuff, I like to make it symmetrical. Inside here, we got everything. So we got all of our crafting stuff in this room, got all the ores and stuff like that, so we can smelt the ores and we can craft stuff over here at the anvils. Over here is where the cooking station is. And then down here is the bedroom. And then up here, got ourselves the core. So this one, I've also completed this. Got myself a nice little garden up here. And then I have a moat all the way around it with different exits so I can get out. So I'm pretty safe right now. I don't know what happens when you power up the cores. I'm not sure if the enemies start attacking you. But the cool thing here is, like, these enemies are just going to spawn here. So you can actually also, like I said, I think you can build... I didn't say this actually, but I believe you can make actually spawn traps. So, like... Or you can farm enemies. So, like, I know in Grounded I made one where you could farm aphids and weevils. I think other people have made... I've seen videos where people have used it for mosquitoes and bees. I've never done that. But in this game, for example, like, I can dig up the ground. So, for example, the slimes spawn on what's called slime ground. And we'll see if I can see any real quick. There should be some around here, honestly. So this ground right here, I can actually dig this up and slimes will spawn on it. So I could actually put that, like, in a square or something, put traps around it, and then just have them get farmed and get free slime like that. There's other ground you can do. There's other ground, at least one other ground that I found that can spawn different enemies. So that's another cool addition to it. So anyway, this is Core Keeper. Like I said, there's a free demo for it right now. I'll leave a link in the description down below for it. It's up until the end of the month. The early access release is scheduled for March 8th. I haven't heard anything to the contrary. So you'll be able to play this up till February 28th. And then a week later, the early access version will come out. If you want to continue your save, you can continue your save over to there. If not, you can start fresh. Either way. And like I said, it's 1 to 8 players co-op. You got randomly generated map. You have, it's procedurally generated. So it's procedurally generated. It's an infinite map. And got different occupations. There's just, like, I just haven't been able to stop playing it. It's been a long time since it's probably since the last game I can remember actually, like, being like this where I didn't want to stop playing it was Grounded, when I picked it back up last summer, right before the Shroom and Doom update. When I started playing it then with my kids, we were playing it and I was just, like, having so much fun with it, and I stuck with it for what, about 4 or 5 months, like, where it was pretty much the only game I'm playing. Now this game, I started playing it the other day and I played it for a couple hours and I was like, wow, 4 hours went by. And then, like, I played it the next day for a couple more hours. It's like, I want to play it every day because there's just so much to do. It's so fun. It's just something fresh. So, and I just like the way it looks. Like, it just has simple graphics. So I haven't had any issues with it running. I have not tested multiplayer yet though. So we'll have to see how that goes. And I mean, I'm sure there'll be improvements when the actual early access release comes out. So anyway, so this is Core Keeper. I'll leave a link for it I'll leave a link for the demo down in the description below if you want to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video interesting, make sure you click the like button and consider subscribing for more videos like this. Before we finish, I want to make sure I thank all my channel members, especially the Overseer91, Grey Knight, and Baz channel, who help make videos like this possible. You can become a channel member today as well by clicking the join card on the screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.